Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk to you about why you shouldn't have a victim mentality. Victim mentalities, when you get down to it, are pretty much one of the easiest ways to ruin your life. And the really sad part about it is that people who do this won't even realize that it's their own fault, because it usually is. And that's the really unfortunate part about victim mentalities. People believe that the world is out to get them and that the cards are stacked against them, and they basically feel like there's nothing they can do to make their lives better. And that's exactly why they end up making their lives horrible over time, because they're basically giving up all the power they have over controlling their future and working towards creating a life that they desire. They're basically outsourcing all the power they have over themselves to external factors that they don't even like. It's really unfortunate. That's why I'm making this video, because I just think victim mentalities are one of the worst things you could have in life. It's one of the worst mindsets. It's the most disempowering thing out there. It's like saying you have no hope over your own ability to make your life better. And that's just a horrible place to be. And beyond that, victim mentalities also have another really bad side effect. They make you incredibly unattractive to high quality partners. If you have a victim mentality, you pretty much have no chance of acquiring a high quality partner. You may be able to fool them for a bit until they eventually learn the truth about you and they realize that you have a victim mentality, and that's going to scare them off completely. And for all my fellow gentlemen out there, I hate to say it, but we got the short end of the stick here, because for us guys, victim mentalities actually pretty much make you unattractive to almost all women in general, because women do not want a man who has a victim mentality. Think about it. Women want guys who are upright, who are strong, who have a future that they're working towards, and they basically have a vision for their life and where they want to end up. But if you have a victim mentality, you're basically the opposite of all of those things. And women are not going to find that attractive at all. They don't care about your excuses, because that's what they'll think of them as. Anytime you complain about the world being against you and you having no power in your life, women are just going to hear that as excuses. Even if they don't acknowledge that consciously, that's basically what they're going to be thinking of you subconsciously. So you just want to drop that mentality as quickly as possible. So how can you get rid of a victim mentality? Well, one of the first things you need to do here is start practicing self-love, because most of the time people who have victim mentalities don't love themselves at all, and that's part of the reason why they buy into this dumb mentality, because it is dumb. I hate to say it, but it's true. So you need to work on loving who you are and accepting yourself for who you are, flaws and all. We're all imperfect people. I'm not perfect. There's so many people out there who are flawed in various ways. But you can still love who you are despite all that, because you don't need to be a perfect person to love yourself. That would be stupid. If that was the case, nobody would love themselves, because we're all flawed. But beyond self-love, you just need to get to a place where you build up your self-worth. And that comes with self-love and knowing yourself. So take the time that you need to get to know yourself better, to know every aspect of who you are. Because the more you know yourself, the more you know what you bring to the table. And that increases your self-worth. And the more self-worth you have, the more that you have things to offer to the people in your immediate environment, the more you can impact people's lives. It will make it so that you start letting go of a victim mentality, because you'll realize that you have power, that you can change the course of your life, that you can impact people around you in life. And don't get into the mentality of thinking that your life is worthless if you're not able to impact thousands of people, because let's be real here. How many people actually change thousands of lives? Very few. It's a rare thing. So don't focus on that. Instead, focus on how many lives you can impact in your immediate environment. Your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your neighbors, people in your local community. Focus on that, because that's where you can make a big change. And with that, you'll be impacting so many people that there's no way in hell you could have a victim mentality when you're in that situation. So these things will help you get over that mentality. But beyond that, you just want to develop a strong and tough mindset. You have to realize that None of us are in control of what happens to us in life, but we are in control of how we react and respond to what happens to us. And this is where we have all of our power. This is what the Stoic philosophers talked about thousands of years ago, and they had it right on the money. And that's why these people were so influential, because their mindsets were just incredible. They had the exact opposite of victim mentalities. They knew that they had all this power over themselves, and that is what made them great people. And we all have that ability, all of us. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are or anything like that. We all have that ability to control ourselves, and with it we have so much power. Because when you realize how you can control the way you react to what life gives you, it makes it so that you can start planning your future. You can start creating your future. Because no matter what life throws at you, you can find ways to take small steps to end up where you eventually want to be. And this is the power of rejecting a victim mentality. Because that's basically, a victim mentality is basically letting go of all of this, thinking that you have no power over yourself, which is not true at all. And thinking that because life is throwing a bunch of crap at you that you can't change it. But that's also not true. I've gone through some crap in my life. I mean, the last 4 years have pretty much been the toughest period of my life so far. And yet, you can be damn sure throughout all of it, even in the days where I felt bad and I felt like life just wasn't giving me a break, I kept going. And that's what you need to do. Because you can't control what life throws at you. So why would you ever want to give in to that? Just keep pushing through it, and eventually things will get better with time. They always do. I've found this to be the case in my own life. No matter how hard things are at one point, as long as I kept going through that point, things always got better with time. So keep going, keep moving through, and you'll eventually realize that those tough times that were making you feel like a victim, they're temporary. They're always going to end. There's a great example I can use here to show you how bad victim mentalities are, and just how it doesn't matter what circumstances you're in. You can always choose your mindset and the way you react to the situation you're in. Because in World War II, in a concentration camp, there was a Jewish man named Viktor Frankl who created or wrote an incredible book, which I highly recommend to everyone, called Man's Search for Meaning. And basically, he was in a concentration camp with Nazis, and he was watching all this misery and cruelty around him, and yet he realized that throughout all of that craziness, he could always control his mind. He could always control the way he thought about the things happening to him. He could choose his mindset no matter what situation life put him in. I mean, he was in a freaking concentration camp. I don't know how many of you haven't looked up on history, but pretty sure all of us learned about the cruelty going on in those camps. And can you freaking imagine being in his shoes and coming out with that mentality that he came out with? It's insane. It just goes to show the resilience of human nature and the kind of power that we have within us. Because you can always choose the way that you view life and yourself. You can always choose your mindset, no matter what is happening to you. I mean, he was in one of the most cruel situations anyone could ever be thrown into, really. I mean, can you think of a worse situation to be in? He was in that, and yet he chose not to be a victim. That's insane. It almost gives me goosebumps even thinking about it, because that's so freaking crazy. He had such a resilient nature, and guess what? We all have that within us. Every single one of us. And it just begins with a choice. You have to choose to be strong. Choose to not be a victim. Choose to have hope. Choose to reclaim your power over your mind and yourself, so that you can start creating that future that you desire. Because that power is within you. Do not give it up, especially to people or things that you don't like. Do not give up your inner power. Don't play the victim. It doesn't make your life better. It doesn't make you attractive. It's a horrible thing to do. It just makes your life worse. So instead, reject that bullshit and choose to make your own life better. Make that commitment to yourself. Anyway, I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci!